love my job and my students said that I could do a whole video on how much I love my job, which is fantastic. I used to go to school Monday mornings, first period, and be like, guys, I love Mondays because I missed you over the weekend. And I was totally serious. I really just love teaching here and I love these students. And to try and express that, I thought of like some of the things I left behind in the States that were really huge to who I was as a person, that I am willing to leave behind and like stay here and teach these kids. Because back in the States, I came from the Pacific Northwest and we have a coffee shop on every corner. Like that's really not much of an exaggeration. And there's just this kind of like cultural mindset of like coffee shop is kind of like home work coffee shop, and that's not non-existent here. The closest Starbucks to me is in a different country. It's half an hour away. But the coffee shop culture I'm okay leaving behind to be here to teach these kids. Also, my old church was like across the street from a coffee shop, and then like down the street a little further was a Chipotle next to a Starbucks. And Chipotle is another thing, like I would go there at least once a week and I loved it, and I miss Chipotle because it's delicious food, and the closest Chipotle to me now is 4 hours away or something ridiculous like that. And that's okay because I'd rather be here teaching these kids. And I also left behind, when I was back in the States, I always just shopped at Trader Joe's for all my groceries because Trader Joe's is amazing and they have wonderful food. And there is no Trader Joe's in this country, but all of my care package wish lists are just a Trader Joe's shopping list. And also, everyone who knew me back in the States knew that I really loved my car, Charles. My 97 Mercedes C230 was named Charles Emerson Winchester IV, and I loved that car. I had to drive 20 miles when I was student teaching from home to the school, and then another 40 miles to work, and then 20 miles back home. And I spent a lot of time in that car. I took that car by myself from Portland to Denver one summer. It was an amazing trip. Like, I just loved that car, and I left it behind. And it was okay, because it was so worth it to be here to teach these amazing kids. Also, the other thing I left behind was Powell's City of Books that I love, and I can still go visit Powell's when I go back to the States, but Powell's is this bookstore in Portland that's an entire city block, and it's 4 stories high, and it's like heaven on earth. And I used to just like go there whenever I wanted, and I would like spend my rent money on books, and I just love that. And I'm okay not having access to that beautiful heavenly array of books all around me. I am totally okay with that. Because I get to be here and I get to teach TCKs, and I love them. And TCKs are a fancy little term for third culture kids. So these are the students that I teach. They grew up in a culture different than their parents' like passport culture generally. So like, an American kid grew up in France, and they're not really a French kid, but then when they go back to America, they don't really fit in as an American. Or a South Korean kid grew up in Russia, same kind of thing. So all these kids come to Germany, and they just are amazing students because they have such a different experiential understanding of the complexity of the world, and I love that because they are just super intelligent, and they're way beyond in their engagement with politics and government and culture, way beyond what I was at their age. Some of them are way beyond what I am now, and they're brilliant kids. And they also come to our school with a really unique understanding of the value of education. Most of these kids are missionary kids, so their parents have made a pretty big financial sacrifice to get them to our school, and because our school wants missionaries to be able to afford it, the entire staff is support raising their missionary status. And so the kids know that the staff have made this big financial sacrifice to offer them an education. And so there's like a subconscious understanding when they come into the classroom that they know this is something that's valuable because people have made huge sacrifices to offer it to them. And so whether they admit that or not, there's just this tacit understanding that like this classroom is important and it's significant, and people have made a big deal to make it happen. And it's so rewarding as a teacher to come into a classroom and have students who just get that what you're offering them is valuable. I absolutely love that, and I love my job because these kids get it, and I love these students. I seriously love them so much. They're amazing, brilliant, wonderful, and I love them. I love my job. I love my students.